Jude here, just going to do another stream. I thought I'd just share as I go along. So, um, this time around, while I wait for the hair pull to finish, I'm going to go ahead and start working on some ugly ass orcs or something along that line. I'm just streaming just because you can see the process if anybody wants to. I think the stream stays on my Twitch for like a few days and then automatically deletes. So we'll just see how that goes. Maybe there's something that can be learned from all this. Currently, it's just me. I have my Discord open if anybody wants to join the chat. Anybody's allowed to, or in the chat that I'm in. But I just wanted to start streaming and get to work. But so today, just gonna do some works and I'm gonna try to make something crazy. Kind of mess around with Daz here and the Daz3D interface. I hate the fact that it's so small. I spent like the last 30 minutes trying to figure out how to make this interface bigger, because even though I have glasses, I'm on a 4K monitor. It's so tiny. You're gonna see me like zoom in a lot, so or try to get in there. What I want to do is essentially make like 3 or 4 different orc models, maybe 3 or 4, just different types, and then import them into Blender. Once they're in Blender, it's pretty much free reign from there. So I'm going to use a Genesis 9 model. And the reason I'm using a Genesis 9 model is because it's a male-female model, so it allows you to kind of use a little bit of both. So it's a big difference from the Genesis 8 models, which are only male or female, so they have 2 different UV map systems. Well, the Genesis 9 model has the UV. Well, the way I do the UVs when I put them in Blender is that I'm able to use these maps. The maps already created with these new models, so it saves me a lot of time and like space on the things that I create. You can see here, loading the Genesis 9 model, it's kind of like male female. It's a little bit half and in between. So a lot of people didn't like this model for that reason, but it was made primarily for video game production. Because back in when Daz first started off, it was more of like a rendering thing where you just make really cool renders. Then again, these days you can kind of tell what a Daz3D render is. And then they made the Genesis 9 model because people started using it for like their video games and stuff like that, which admittedly, I think I've only really seen Daz stuff on video games that have like nudity or those types of games you see on Steam that everybody says they never buy for like $4. So there are those games. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the Genesis 9 model. And from here, we're just going to kind of like play around with some of the stuff that I do have in my library to try to come up with something crazy. Go out here and go to my library and go to my peoples, and I'm going to my Genesis 9. This is my library. Yeah. So I'm going to go to Genesis 9 and just start loading in some characters. So I have all the characters here. Now, the reason why I loaded up the Genesis 9 is because I can morph into any of these characters. I'm going to kind of mix a little bit here and there, try to get something crazy. I just added some of these ones, like I think this one I just added. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start morphing from the actual shaping tab here. And I want to start I'm going to morph the entire, well, I don't want to morph the body because sometimes it just makes the thing go out of proportion. So I'm just going to morph like the face. So just like the head here. And I swear, I wish like I could, I can zoom if I type in the zoom tool, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing too. No, magnifier. I think this is the magnifier tool here. So down here, I have all of these different shapes that I can do. So one thing that I've done before in my tutorials or demonstrations, what I do is I move this like right over here. And that way I can kind of get a good zoom, because like I said, this UI is really small and I wear glasses for a reason, folks. I'm not good at seeing stuff. All right. So I'm going to come down here and kind of keep this face in mind. And if I want to add like a goblin look, I can morph it into a goblin. But what I want to do is I want to start with the general orc, with just the general, and kind of work from there. There's different orc models that I have depending on the orc type that I want to create. Obviously this is more of like a, it's more of the humanoid orc, but we're making ugly ass orcs today. So I'm going to try to make some funky stuff. If it comes out weird, that might be a good thing. All right. So what I want to do is come find, I think it's like down here with the male. So we have a goblin head. And I know there's more down here. Let me see. There's, let's gotta find it. So there's the imp head, and the imp will give me some weird results, I think. So if I do like the imp head a little bit, start from there because the eyes get separated some. Okay. And sometimes it's you don't really see the some of the stuff like the orc here that I showed here. I think this is the one I want to look for. I think the one I'm looking for is no, not the goblin. Kind of like this orc a little bit. I want to add a little bit of the green orc, but I also want to add maybe a little bit of Barrett here orc. But there's another one that I just got. I don't see it here. I think it's under creatures then. Maybe this one right here. This is raw Hamson, whatever. And maybe a little bit of the dwarf. And I think that'll give us a really like crazy looking orc. So we'll try that out. That's just the plan. We're just trying to reach something crazy. I know there was like more creatures here. I think I have to go under somewhere else. So if I go to like, if I want to add a little bit of, maybe just a little bit of that. Now the thing about Daz is if you go too overboard with all these faces mixing in, they tend to cause like some weird little effects. So let's see, cheeks, horns. And I'm looking for something that's, goblin, maybe like 10% goblin. And then, oops, let's do this here. 10. All right. And then, let's see, let's go ahead and, add some, let's see. No, not the female stuff. Surprised the orc is not here. Let's go to actual actors and we might find it here. So if we skip through all the female stuff, we get to like the male and the creatures. So if I add the actor, it actually adds the entire body and the head. I don't really focus much on the body because we're not really taking the body, but it does help sometimes when doing the body because it helps keep the neck in proportion to what you're doing to the head. Yeah, it's actors. That's right. Okay, let's see. I know I had it here. Let's go and find it. Maybe on the bottom. Start from the bottom up because it's all male stuff. So let's see. So like, for example, if I add this giant, it's going to make, this kind of thing. But I don't know if I want to add too much of giant. Just enough to make like a weird face. I think this is what I added already. So you're kind of getting like that. And I could always add a little more. Let's add the HD detail. Oh, whoa, a little too big. Let's go ahead and add. Oh, here we go. This is the orc I wanted to kind of add in there. So now we're getting more of the ugly ass orcs that we want to make. Okay. And so if I come up here, I don't really know the shortcuts to get those. Let's see what else we got to add in here. We got the masculine face. Let's add a little bit of that. Let's make that like maybe 40%. The masculine face. And then maybe we can add a little bit of Barrett the orc here. See what that does for us. Now that makes it more humanoid, I think. So what we want to do is we want to get more creatures in. More creature like face. So let's see what creatures we have lying around. And I know we have some. I just got to find it. Let's maybe add a little bit of this. That's more of like let's just add a little bit. I want to say maybe like, let's add like 5, and then we may have to morph these in Blender to kind of get like some weird expressions or get like some weird, that's a body mesh. Okay. So this is all body stuff. All right. We don't need the body stuff. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to, there's people. Let's see if there's something, maybe I missed something in here. It's all hit miss. So let's see. No, I think we're good on that. Yeah, there's not really there. And so head is where there's different options, and then there's of course face, which is more options. So face has stuff like this and this face. So that's where we're going to get like our differences of orc styles, because once you change the face and then we mix the expressions and stuff like that, the poses, that's when you start getting like different types of orcs and stuff. So if I were to come here, I'm just going to make a generic one right now. And then, yeah, something like that might help, but give us some bone structure there. Maybe turn that up. And let's see what else we got here. can do is, let's see, this is all scar stuff. Brows. You know, just mess with the eyebrows and see what we get here. Maybe pop them out a little bit. There we go. Something like that. I have to look at this from the side right quick to see what this looks like. Maybe let's shut some eyes. His eyes look really, really wide. So we'll come back in and shut some eyes in a bit. Maybe that. And let's go ahead and do some eyes. I don't think that's really doing much there. Actually, we might have to do just poses with the eyes. Let's come back to, I know ears, we can change the ears. I think we have ears. Let's see, ears. That's just asymmetrical. So there's different shapes of ears, like vampiric. We want is, no, goblin comes out really big. We want something more orcish, so we may have to turn down. And this is a little tricky because we already applied some of these pre-made orcs, so that kind of causes like a it makes it hard to bring them back in and to use these ones right here. So what we're gonna do is see what else I have here. Hold on. Okay, let me bring this down. And let's go ahead and see demon ears. I want to see if I can bring them back in a little bit. If not, then we'll have to do that in Blender. There's so many different types of ears. But I think some of them may have been chosen already. Let me see. No, that's under shaping ears. So we may have to just leave it at that. Let's see. Lobe. We can make them smaller, which is what I wanted to aim for. Not earless. This is a space elf right here. Let's see what that looks like. That's a weird ear. All right, so we got vampiric, sweet. Maybe a little bit of sharpness to them. That vampiric will add a little bit of sharpness to them, and maybe there's sloping. Okay. And let's see what else we got. I think that's all. Like, it's just a good starting point. We'll mix around with the faces now. So if I go back to the head, this is where I can add a little bit of different face options. So now I can really play with maybe adding Matt's face or Nathan here. Well, Nathan has that's the HD one. So a little bit of this one or that one. You know, it adds a little bit of more style to that. So this is where we're getting like now some really weird anatomy, which is what we want to go for. Even if I add some HD details from some of this, it kind of gives up. I want to really make it like, because the texture we're going to add is really going to make it look like really we want these things to look a little messed up, I think. So yeah, that helps right there. I think adding a little bit of that head. And so really it's about just getting some weird results, and we won't take forever on this. We'll kind of get to what we want. Maybe add a little more goblin. No, maybe the goblin is what's causing those ears to be all weird. But let's see, what is this? No, we'll leave it at that. So now that we've done that, what I generally like to do is I come up here and we're gonna just remove the stuff that we don't need. Like, I don't need the eyebrows, because we have our pre-made eyebrows that I put on later. So I'm going to compare and just hit delete. We don't need the mouth, or we do, because it's an orc. So sometimes we like the teeth to show. So the teeth are in there, I think. We just got to go and get them. If not, what we can do is reshape the teeth that are already in there. You'll see what I mean when I get to that, I believe. Eyes we keep. We get rid of their tear ducts. And because they are orcs, I'd rather not waste the poly on eyelashes, because they're not meant to be pretty. And I'd rather them look focus on their other features. Like, since we're going to have teeth, because some of them I take out the teeth, and this one we're going to take out the teeth, put the teeth in, and then take out the eyelashes. It helps us kind of balance out the poly that we're going to be using here. And then we keep the eyes in the mouth. So what I want to do next is I'm going to come up here to parameters, and on mouth I'm going to come up here to mesh resolution, make that base, and just turn that subdivision down. That's going to make sure that when we export, we're exporting at the lowest level, and then we'll kind of work our way up from there if we need to. But we're going to keep it at a low level, and this is what's required usually for, you know, exporting out to video games. You don't want to export a high poly model. You want to try to get it to its base resolution with no subdivisions. And if I go up here to the Genesis, same thing. It's all there. And then the last thing I want to do is come down to pose, and I'm going to click the head here. I'm going to go to pose controls, and then I'm going to go to the head, and then I'm going to go to expressions. And I can go ahead and express like different things. Like I can do like the eyebrows, the ears, the cheeks, anything I want separately. But I'd rather just use an expression because it's a faster way of just getting something out the door. So if I want it, I can use it from different people. Different people have different expressions. And so if I put like a sad expression here, I can put smile, alternative. And that's, you know, this is what kind of creates, this is what really helps with creating that sort of look that you want, that creates the character. Like I like something like serious because we are trying to go for something like that. And then we can open the mouth because it's an orc, we don't have to, but we can keep it like that. But I want to go like something like that. Maybe I'll put that at like 70%. So, and then maybe, let's see, like each one has a different expression. That brings the tongue out apparently. So we can do something like that, but no. I'm going to put that back at 0 because if I go under, it looks like it's not. So, grumpy, I want to kind of find the stuff that's like grin maybe. And then maybe a wicked laugh. See how the teeth are coming out. That's what I want to do because I want to bake this model, this AO map, and you're going to get that depth when I bake the like the shadows into the actual orc. And then for the eyes, what I want to do is I want them to have some sort of freakiness to them. So I'm going to kind of shut one. So I'd like this one right here, like see how the eye comes out big. I want to do something like that. And then I want to squint the other one a little bit. So we have some kind of like craziness going on. Did I need to make that face? No, but I just did. And then we can kind of like mess with the asymmetry here. Because I want those teeth to really show, so we can do the mouth press, stuff like that. And then once we get one, we pretty much got the rest, mouth smile. So if I were to type in, I can search here if I want, just put frown, mouth frown, and then turn that up a little bit. Frown left, frown right. And so I'm just gonna say we're gonna stick with that, and we're gonna export this out now. So when I come back out and then I bring this up here, this is pretty much what we're getting for an orc for starting off. And this is like, it's not as deformed, but we can do the rest in Blender if we need to. I was really hoping to so what I want to do is if I go to this imp, I can give it this texture. So if I go to character and I just find this imp, which is under raw, I hope I can find it. It's a little tricky because they don't really, show what's in each folder until you go into the subfolders. But I think this might be it somewhere here. Yeah. So if I go into the imp here and I go into its materials, I can apply its materials to see what it looks like with this, this model, because when we load the Genesis 9, it just loads with its base maps. I don't even think it loads properly. So this is what we're looking at right here. Something like that. And I think that works, and then of course what we're going to do is we're going to keep this. So we're going to export this out. So I'm going to go to file. I'm going to go to export. And I've been saving them into this folder called emergency elves because this is what I needed, emergency elves. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start naming it based off what it is. So I already have here some other orcs, OM, which is orc, but I'm going to put like GO for Grey Orc, and it's called GO1, and then save that out and just put export. Now I'm going to go and make the second one real quick, and that should be pretty simple. So to do the second one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, come back to my shaping. I'm going to bring this back to where it was because it helps a little bit. And then I'm going to zoom in over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the stuff that I've already done. So like if I come over here and I start removing like some of the goblin, or I can put more, like this. But I don't like the fact that it's the ears, the ears are really, really, really not something I like right now. If I keep that up, I can turn maybe that one a little more. Bring Blake back in. Let's try Ty. And it doesn't look like it's doing much right now, but when we get to and you know, I think more if I do the creature, so fangs, see the teeth get sharp there, I can do that. So let me make those fangs, and then green orc, I'm gonna put more of the green orc there in the mouth. And then Amon right there. And let's go ahead and turn down Nathan. No, keep Nathan HD on. Mace, the masculine head will keep kind of there. And let's introduce something else. Let's introduce I don't know what this is. Oh, that's not working. Is the half orc head working? We do a little bit of that. And then maybe the demon head will give us some weird results. There we go. That's more of like, you know, and then let's see, goblin female head. No. Okay. So, I know this one has a lot of wrinkles in it. No. Little tricky. This one, trying to get what we're trying to achieve. There we go. Perfect. All right. No, so we're going to go to face now and try some more other options. Maybe turn up the brows a little bit. Let's just mess with this whole thing. Let's just make a weird looking thing. You know, something, bring it out like that. And let's do I know these add texture, so they don't really do much. That's just like a texture thing. And then if we go to ears again, kind of play around with the ears a little bit. I think we had the vampiric ones. So we had sloping ears right here. And if we come back, see how the shape here, if I wanted to make those long, but I don't. I want to put ears smaller. Earless. Maybe little tiny ears. I'm going to edit those in Blender, by the way, to do some more. No, not that. Okay, so I think that's all really. I mean, there's not much I can do from where it's at right now. All right, so we got the ears. We have the, let's see, the base. Trying to play with whatever we can here. You know, it's going to look a lot like the other one because I can't seem to get the creatures in, but there's also this. So let me come out of here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's bring this up over here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and come to this little area. And I'm going to go to, I think we can go to anatomy. And there's different anatomy we can put in. Oh no, we don't want to do that anatomy. Oh. Let's go to shapes, I think it is. So here's another one. I'm hoping maybe I can get some results with this. So if I just click it on here, maybe change out the ears in general. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So I want to do something like these ones, I think. Or maybe even smaller. Maybe those are... that applied? No, that looks too right ear. Oh, right ear flap. So it does kind of like mingle with the one, and maybe if I go to ear shape 0 out, that's just natural. Yeah, so I'll keep it like that, and then let's go see what else we have here. So this is if I want to apply like the automatic, like, see, I can come here and I can give it like a really sharp nose if I want, or I just remove. So if I do this, see how I can give it a sharp bridge, just apply more things. There's actually more here. I think it's twisted right here, where there's more fantasy shapes. So if I were to do this to the ears, it would give me, see how it does that result, which I think that's actually not bad. Let me see what else we have here. Yeah, so it's also changing up the oh, I put this new piercing in, by the way. So if it's like all wacky looking, I'll have to change it out, but I'm planning to gauge it up a little bit. So I just thought I'd use this piercing before it goes. All right. So trying to get the right ear. I actually like. Do I like that one or do I like the one before it? The thing is, what I'm trying to get is something different from the first model. So I mean, whatever it takes at this point. You know, even making it nose bigger, or I could just have it sloping a little bit. You know, something like that. And then I'll make let's do something with the lips. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, let me see. How's that? That looks good. I like that actually. So what I'm gonna do is, and this is like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom out, but this is like where like we're gonna have fun with making it different is when we go back over here to our posing and zoom in. And then what we can do is go ahead and go to not mouth. We can go to head again, just open it and close it. And go to expressions, and let's go back to where we were. I gotta click it first. Am I in the right one? Posing. I have to go to click on the character here. And not mouth. So I have it on frown right now. But if I go to, let's see, why is it not letting me? Pose control, Genesis 9 general. Let's see. Pose controls, head. Why it's not letting me do my expressions? Make sure you're using a universal tool. And I am. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, everybody. I am
here.
doing the stream, so
yes,
I don't know if you guys saw the message. All right.
Yes, I did.
All right. Just making orcs here. Great. I'm trying to make some freaky looking orcs. So I don't know why it's not letting me do what I wanted to do right now. Oh, because I'm on head maybe? Let me see. Yeah. The scars and stuff like that are gonna have to be something done via like a normal map, because Daz is not really good when you're exporting
that's
stuff.
That's an ugly orc head. That is fantastic. Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
That's great.
I'm just trying to do like the most weirdest things I can do, because this is like making an orc is like free reign. I don't know why none of my poses working here. Am I on the wrong control? Let me see. Let's see.
It wasn't working that first night either.
No, yeah, I fixed that issue. Shaping. Okay, so I'm on shaping. I got right, but when I go to pose, I'm trying to change the expression and it's not letting me. See, it only lets, because I have that stupid search function on. There I go. Now that's stupid me head. All right, so expressions. We're gonna go ahead and reset the expressions, and I want to get something that makes it look different from the last one. All right, so maybe we'll keep some angry stuff on grin. We'll just use different ones to kind of see what we can get. You know, and there, just make it look creepy. And then let's get this one with the sulk. Some little bit of a smirk. And then let's go like a little bit naive. And then yes. Sexy orc. Yeah. And then how about a little bit of annoyed?
You should be a lot annoyed. He's an orc.
Let's do like let's do a little bit of angry. Why not? No, that's not okay. Wait, he's looking too angry. No, angry is not working. Attractive? Ooh, no. Disrespect. There.
Attractive and orc.
And then grumpy.
Hugs. What do you mean hugs? No.
I wanna make the eye like face the other direction, but I don't want to go overboard.
They're making
smolder.
Or
smolder. Shouting. Let's do.
Yeah, the word attractive orc came up, and I said the word hugs.
And let's do one more thing. Contempt. Okay, so that gives us something different, you know, that we can work with.
Right.
And so that's going to be another one that we're going to use. you know, it's a mouth breather, but it's an orc, so who cares?
It's an orc.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and export that one now. And then we'll make one more after we do the third one. I'll go ahead and batch those three. I don't know who plays Grey Orcs, but I know that if we make them good enough, I've noticed on the very last time I ever did Grey Orcs, they got really good like what's the word I'm looking for? Like people use them for a reason because they like the faces. Even though like those first pack I made were like in 2016. I think 2015, 2016 when I made those. And that was when I first used Daz. So I'm applying everything we know now with everything that we do. So you're going to see the entire process. So I'll shut up and let's get this. Okay, so Geo1, Grey Orc 1, and Grey Orc 2. And then this next one, I'm going to try to go a lot quicker, so bear with me. I'm just going to click here and just click any random crap and then see what we get here. Maybe, there we go. And let's go ahead and do maybe some different eyebrows. Let's make that nose bigger. Okay, so it automatically messes with the nose. Let's go ahead and change out the ears a little bit. No, that's too ugly. Let's go back one. All right, no. I can scale down the ears afterward, but I'm just being lazy right now about it. Let's just keep them small. Let's not mess with the ears. And I don't know if this does anything. Yeah, that'll change it up a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to grab something that's just a little bit different. Using you know, not the materials, I think. Yeah, so I won't use the shapes. What we're gonna do is bring this down here again and do our zoom option because it's so this UI. There's no way you can fix a Daz UI. I guess people have been asking for this thing for years, but there's no way to get around making it smaller. It's just, it sucks. It's hard. And I wear glasses and I have trouble seeing it how small it is. So let's see. Let's go ahead and bring the brows down a little bit. And then let's go to shaping and let's kind of reset this a little bit. So I don't know if there's a way to reset this back to 0. I think there might be. If I go to, is there an option here? If not, then I have to find all the stuff that's white. So like your hair is white. So that's what I'm using. So if it's white, that means I'm using it. So what I want to do is I want to take some of it off the whites to kind of get like a different face altogether. You know, masculine head, take that off. And then I like to keep the HD details on, but I'll take it off right now. And the imp head. See, that's like, let's make this more like this. Okay, so let's maybe keep the imp head at 10%, not 1. Okay. And then the giant head. Let's take that one down. And then I think this is the teeth. Yeah, this one kind of gave it like weird teeth. So let's bring that back in. And let's start resetting this. So also a face, I had some stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down. Instead, give it a different face altogether. See, that's starting to cause some clipping. And maybe something like that. I can fix all that in post or in Blender. Yeah, let's give it like a weird looking jaw. No, that's making the eyes pop out. The eyes are already popping out right here, but we can tuck those back in Blender. Something fixable. I wonder if I can just fix it now. Yeah, see if I have to bring that back down to do that. But I think that's because like I said, you start reaching these limitations when you start mixing so much faces together. Cheeks up. And then, do I have anything working up here? I got something like this, brow. And square face left, square face right. All right, so now we're gonna go to the heads. 1 second. I'm gonna go to chin horns. Let's go ahead to the. Now they all look the same. That's what's driving me a little bit mad. So that's gonna be a nice feature, I think. All right, let's do something like that. And I don't know, let's go overboard again. Let's see, Goblin. No. So it's gonna be a little clipping there, so I may have to smooth it out. And there we go. Let's go ahead and come back in here and just reset the poses, the expressions. Let's go to shouting, contempt. And then what I can do is after I do enough of these is I can go in and shut the mouth myself. Yeah, there's a lot of this going on. See, surprised is what made the mouth open. And then if I do not polite, what else we got here? Naive is on there. Let's do intimidating. Okay, and a little bit of, I don't want smile. I want like a mean mouth open. They all look like they're smiling no matter what you do. So if I just go to mouth and just do it manually, I can go to mouth, close. You know, I can do it like that. But then you get to see the teeth, and I want the teeth to show. Okay, and then we can do like a mouth frown. And then like a frowned, let's see what else we got. No mouth press. Mouth rollover. Yeah, let's give it some weird to the side. Why not? And then I'm just messing with any random thing now at this point. And let's do the nose compress right. Just some weird stuff. So that's that stretch. There's a lot of options, obviously. But I think we'll stop there and call that phase 3. So this is going to be our phase 3 for orc. I'm going to shrink down those ears manually. Though I can, if I wanted to, I can just select the ears right now. It's a little more difficult in Daz to do because the scaling. So if I were to come in here and I just go to the character and then I go to not pose but shaping and I go to ears, I can go ahead and change out the ears right here overall with size or scale. So base, these are all the different types of ears, but I think it would be under parameters. Not parameters, it would be, 1 second, mouth, posing. I think it would be under shape, but it would be face. Ears. I know there's one scale. Is it under parameters? Let me see. No, because this parameters only has to do with, it would be here, but I don't see where it says scale rotation. I don't see it, so I have to turn it down. I know it's here somewhere. I'm just not really finding it, I think. Surfaces, no, that's textures. Yeah, so okay. Don't know why. All right, that's fine. I can shrink those down in Blender. But this is going to be Orc 3. And we'll use that. And then I'll probably do some editing in Blender too. So I'm going to go to File, Export. I'm going to export this as GO3. Just save that out. And now that we're done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up Blender. And with that, we're going to go ahead and oh, my back. We're going to go ahead and import these 3 faces, and then I'm going to do the process of prepping them like I do for every other face the way I do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to collection here. Let's go to file. I'm going to go to import OBJ. I'm going to go to where I have those 3 faces, which should be here, GO, the OBJ and the MTL file. I'm going to import both. I'm going to go ahead and click import all 3. And what I like, the fact that I made them with the same model, so they didn't really scale up and down. So they're all going to be, it's going to be a lot easier for me to morph them together or to put them together to the Grey Orc body. So while I have all 3 selected, I'm going to hit edit or tab to edit mode. I'm going to press A. And then the first thing I want to do is go to mesh, and I'm going to go to shading and smooth my faces because they weren't smooth before that. See that? So we smoothed them out. And then I'm going to stay in that. I'm going to hit P and separate by material. So they're all going to open up by different materials. This may take a second or two. So it's all opened up now. So now because I have that, I'm going to go into edit mode or object mode and select everything from right there and hit X and delete those. Then I'm going to come down and delete the toes. And then that kind of isolates the heads. Now the heads are all split up in their own little world here. You got 0.3 head. So anything that says 0.3, that's the 3rd head I'm going to turn off. 2, I'm going to turn off all of those. I'm going to keep just this first one. I'm going to do some little cleanup here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead first and grab the eyeball and this eyeball, hit Control J to join them together and then hide them. Because underneath it is this right here. I'm going to select those both, hit X and delete those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and collect the head, hit hide, and I'm going to delete this part, but I'm going to keep this because I need this for I believe, yeah, I'm going to need, yeah, I'm not going to need that. So I'm trying to save as much poly as I can. Delete that. I'm going to keep that inside. I'm going to join these 2 together because they're all in the same map. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide that. Oh, I don't have to hide it. It's the last thing I have. Let me grab it. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and unhide the 3 things, which is the head, the eyes, and the teeth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to join them together. But first, before I do that, I'm going to select the head. I'm going to make sure I only have 1 material for each one. So the eye, just delete one of the materials. For the teeth, delete 1. It doesn't matter which one because they're both all in the same maps anyway. So I'm going to select the eyes, then the teeth, and then the head. And hit Control J, join those together, turn it off. Now I'm going to do the same thing for 2. And I'm going to do that one a little bit quicker. We'll fix that issue afterwards. I'm going to join those together, hide those, grab this one, grab that one, delete those, and then go ahead and hide the head. Grab this, delete that, grab these 2, join those together, and then turn those back on. And then grab the eyes, teeth, and the face, and then join those back together, turn it off, and do the same thing for the 3rd one. Going to go ahead and select that very almost closed eye. Select that there, hit Control J. Going to turn that off. Select the ones underneath again, hit X, delete. Going to go ahead and select the head, hide the head, delete this extra poly we don't need, and grab the teeth and join them together. Turn those 2 back on. I'm going to go ahead and select the eye and then the teeth and then the head last, so that way they all join into the head. And there we go. We have our 3 models. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn them all back on. Press 1 to line them up, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to here and then go to matte cap, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on shadows and cavities. It's going to help me see a little bit better as far as the cavities and shadows go for each one. And so this essentially is our first orc head. This is our second orc head. Okay. Might be a little tricky there. We might get some reversed, we may have to, yeah, it might look a little weird. So we might have to make the teeth bigger or something, because these are going to be, these normals are not going to be, it's not going to work out that way. The mouth is a little too big. So it's going to, back faces are going to be showing. So we may have to close that ourselves. Sorry, I have to change my position. So we may have to close like that stuff, but that stuff we'll get to when we get to it. And then same thing here. I'm not gonna, it's not the biggest issue. I think it's not gonna really kill anyone, but you never know. You know, with some of these players are like, they demand perfection. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab these three. I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to grab all three of these. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make a new screen here. I'm going to go to, first off, I don't even think these have a texture applied to them, do they? Maybe they do. Let's see. If I go to texture, yeah, they kind of do. But the thing is, we don't really have a we don't have these textures saved. I'll have to import these as new textures. But so what I'm going to do is I'll leave them like this right now. What I want to do is I want to set the UVs to be correct. So it's going to look funky right now after I do what I'm about to do, but it's just part of the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, turn that off texture, and go back to object. What I want to do is I want to get the UVs correct on this. And I already know what the UVs are supposed to look like, but just for the shits and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and do it all from scratch. So I'm going to select all the heads. That's all the maps. I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to go press in to open up this window, go select this folder. And I'm going to select a regular vanilla head. Okay. And I want to, yeah, let's go ahead and let's go back one, and let's get like HHM textures, I think it is. And let's go ahead and get head 7, which is the one we've been using for a lot of stuff. And so the reason I'm pulling this up is because I want to use this as a template to align my UVs to all the other maps that we've been using. So that way, if we want to make more orcs, all we got to do is recycle the other maps. So if we fit these UVs to this map here, we can later on clone this model out and apply it to all the other maps, because all the maps, like I said, and yesterday when I was previewing the hairs, all these maps share the same UV space. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn that to the front. And since I have everything selected here, what I want to do is I want to deselect the things that I don't want to touch right now. So I'm going to do one thing at a time. So in order to do that, I'm going to come up here and click UV sync selection. And that's going to allow me to select the mesh by the UV. And I'm going to select it by face. And I'm going to press A to unselect everything. So that means I don't have to select it here. If I select something here, it's going to automatically select the mesh here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the 3 faces. So 1, hide it, 2, hide it, and the 3rd one, hide it. Okay. And then I'm going to go up to the ears, hide it, 2, hide it, 3, hide it. That's how I know I got all 3 ears from all 3 models. Ear, hide, select, hide, select, hide. All right. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt H to unhide them. All right. And what I'm going to do while in UV here, I'm going to go ahead and set my cursor to right here, because I'm going to go ahead and select this and go to 2D cursor, which means I'm going to manipulate these UVs, but I want the 2D cursor to be the center of manipulation. So that means when I click 2D cursor, wherever this cursor is at, and I scale down, it's going to scale off that cursor. If I move my cursor up here, it's going to scale to that cursor. So what I want to do is I want to move my cursor right here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to tool or view. I'm going to 2D cursor. I'm going to put this at 0.5. Okay, that's going to put it right here in the middle, or wherever it went. Where did it go? Okay, yeah, it's there. So 0.5. Okay, so it's right there. And then I want to change the Y location to just 1. So this is 1, going Y1, because this is 0, 0. So 1. If I go 2, it'll go right here. So 1, and then on the X-axis, 0.5, this would be 1. So halfway is 0.5. So now that I have that set up with these UV set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit scale on the Y, and I can scale it upward now. And how I know this by just the way I've done it, I'm going to scale this at 0.75. So if we look on where it says scale, I'm going to hold down shift and control, and I'm going to bring this down to 0.75. And that's how I know I'm lined up to the UV maps, all my other UV maps. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hit hide to hide that again. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this cursor back to its original spot, because the next two things involve me manipulating from that corner instead. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and select the rest, or I'm going to select the eyes. So I'm going to delete first these little back pupils. So I'm going to grab it like that. I'm going to hit Control L and just hit X and or X over here and delete the faces. What I'm deleting is the back of the eyes, because they serve no purpose, and they're a waste of poly count. So if I hold down this and select, it's selecting all three sets of those back pupils. I hit Control L to select everything within it. This is what we're selecting. I'm going to hit X over here. I'm going to delete those faces. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab these sets of eyes, which are the front of the eyes, just select a few, and then hit Control L to select the linked, which selects all the rest of them. So we have all these eyes here. I'm going to align these two UVs together. Okay. And then I'm going to select the rest of them all together, hit Control L to select all of them. And I'm going to scale those up to right there to 2. Then I'm going to go grab X and move it off to the side so we can work with whatever's left. All right. And whatever's left here looks like, well, I should have selected this too. So actually this should have been selected with the head. Why it was not, that means I forgot to delete the tear ducts, which really shouldn't have came in with it. So let me go ahead and delete these tear ducts, L, because I don't really care for these tear ducts. They're just a waste of space. Did I not delete the tear ducts? I didn't. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit X, delete those faces, X, delete those faces. I don't think I need these tear ducts if I remember correctly. Delete those faces. And then L, come over here, X, delete, L. No, not that. L, delete, L, delete. All right. And so all of this is the mouth. So if I select all of those, okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead again, go to tool or image. I'm going to select that same image that I got the first time around, which is head 7. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scale this down and keep the manipulator down here. Hit scale, bring it down to 0.5 right there. And then hit scale again and bring it down to 0.5 again. All right. And then hit G to grab it. Hit X to lock it on the X axis and slide it on over. And that's where the teeth go. And that template was made beforehand because I knew eventually I'd be introducing teeth when I do the orcs. So it was more of a fail safe to do that. Okay. So now that I've done that, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and let's see. I think we have all of our UV set. So everything is set. Yeah. This should all actually, so let's do this. I think these aren't not actually correct. So if I select everything, what I want to do is I want to select these and make sure those are on the right one. Okay. And then the eyes, select all the eyes and then just go to image tool. I'm going to select a different UV. Now, normally I don't have to do this, but I'm just doing this now. What's going on here? Oh, go to open, and I'm going to go to my textures here and generic eye human. And the reason why it's doing that is because it's all in the same material. So I think what I just did is made it look really wonky right now. So it's all going to be like, let me see. So this is pretty much what we're getting, only because we're matching it to a human face right now. That's why it's looking like that. Okay. So that's no bake map yet. Also, while I have these open, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and make a quick preview because I tend to do this for what we're doing here. So what I'm going to do is I have this collection too. I'm going to grab all 3 of them. And this is also for baking. I'm going to bake the AO maps for these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all 3 of these and hit shift. Let me pull this over a little bit. Hit shift D to duplicate them. Hit escape. While they're duplicated, drop them down into here, this second collection. Turn off the first collection. I'm going to grab these 2. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Hit grab X. Pull it on over. And then I'm going to grab this one, grab X, and then pull that on over. And so we have our 3 faces right there. So what I'm also going to do is hit N. I'm going to come over here. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and let me turn off the magnifier. We'll go ahead and make a screenshot right quick. So what I want to do with these essentially is I'm going to go ahead and use these for baking. So I'll go ahead first and I have to separate them, keep them all separate. I got to go through here and delete all of those. This is just for baking. So this is like an extracurricular thing. Delete all of the materials because I'm going to go ahead and assign them a new material based off their name here. So copy that, new, paste there. Because I need, before I bake the AO maps, I need to have a material set for them to bake. And then grab this one, Control C, make a new one, and then copy there, paste there. All right, now that I've done that, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the eyes because I don't want to bake with the eyes. So let's unhide everything first. Let's select all of them, unhide everything. All right, and hit L, 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 and L, L. All right, and I'm going to delete all of those. So we don't want the eyes. I do want the teeth, and that's exactly how I want this. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and grab all of these. I'm going to hit Control 2. And if you saw what it did, it made it much more smoother. And the reason why I did that is because I went ahead and add 2 subdivisions because I'm going to bake this now. And I'm trying to just get this ready for bake. I'm going to go to advanced, click that, make that 10. My UVs, I'm going to keep corners, or UV smoothing, I'll put none just to make sure I get all the way edge to edge, keep corners. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Quality 10. I'm going to go to none, keep corners. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one right here. 10, none, and keep corners. And now that I'm done with that, what I'm going to do is select all 3 of these. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export as an OBJ. I'm going to go to where I have the original pack here. And I have Emergency Orcs. So I'm going to call this Emergency Grey Orcs just to keep in line with what it is. M for male. All right. I'm going to put selected only because I want to export these 3. Apply the modifiers, export. That may take a second. Done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fire Adobe Substance Painter. All right, so in Adobe Substance Painter, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead at this point and import this model in and then bake ambient occlusion maps. I find it easier to bake your maps in this than to bake in Blender because it requires a setup.
I'm sorry.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's fine. New.
I hit unmute instead of mute.
So I'm going to choose Emergency Grey Orcs. I'm going to make them at 2K, the maps. And then I'm just going to click OK. And then I'm going to get this little number. Pop up. All right. And hit F6 to put that on orthographic view. This is the map that we're going to bake onto. Because I remember we moved our UVs. And so each one has its own face. See there? And so what we're going to do is we're going to bake AO maps on these. And that's what's going to make it stand out from the rest of the faces that we have. So what we're going to do is go to Mode, Bake Mesh Maps. It's going to bring up this UI. I'm going to go ahead and use my global settings. Put that at 2048. I'm going to bring this to about 8. I'm going to put this on 64x super sampling. I'm going to come down for each one. I'm going to go to ambient occlusion for all of them. I'm going to turn this up to 256. And for my ocular distance, I'm going to turn that to 0.5. All right. And then I'm going to also put self-occlusion, only the same mesh. This will ensure that these, when they bake, the bake maps only bake off the mesh only. And so you won't get the shadows from this. Because what happened is if you bake without that option, you're going to get shadowing right here. Because it's technically there's a darkness in between these 2 heads. So this allows it to bake each map separately as if isolated from the other. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now what I'm going to do for each one, all 3 heads, the first one, I'm going to turn off all the maps that I want to bake except for ambient occlusion. Okay. Do the same thing for the second one. The settings should all have all saved though. So if I see how it's all set up here for all 3 of them. So I'm going to turn that one off and then come back over here to the third one and then turn everything off but the ambient occlusion. All right. Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, okay. So now that that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select bake selected textures. And then now it's going to bake those shadows onto the face. And that's going to be very important for getting that realism in the faces that we're looking to get. All right, so while that's okay, that's done. All right, so I'm gonna go to return to painting mode. I have a bad back, so sometimes I have to like. Okay, all right. So, and if you can see now, we see that on this map here, the shadows are baked in. So now when we come across here and we do this, see how we got shadows now inside those little crevices, and that's gonna help create depth when we apply that. Put these shadow maps over our diffuse maps. So. This is pretty much what you got with the bake. It goes in line of what we're seeing here. See the shadows? But this is Blender just rendering it from the UI. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Export, Textures. Okay. And I already have a preset template I made for this. You just got to make it your own template, output template. Just choose ambient occlusion map. So in this case, it's called AO only. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 8 bits PNG, which is fine. I'm going to set the texture size to 2K. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, that's it, and just press export. Bam, done. I'm going to open output directory and I'm going to grab those heads, which I believe are right here, 1, 2, and 3. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop them into my emergency elves section. I think it's under, I don't think, here it is right here. And then I have a, if I go back one level, I think I have them right here, which is HHM textures. And then I have it under emergency faces AO. I call these emergency faces because I want to get these ones done now. So that way I can get them in. So I want to make sure there's every race or most races are covered. So it's like an emergency to get them completed. So that's just why I named them the way I did. All right. So I'm going to grab those 3 maps that I just baked. I'm going to hit Control X, then I'm going to bring them here, Control V. So now they're over here. Now that I'm done, exit that, exit, discard. I don't need to save that. And what I want to do now, and I can actually exit this now. I'm going to click no, save me some RAM here. Okay. All right, let's see. So going to go ahead and bring this back up. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. We don't need it anymore. That's just, I'm going to keep it because we may use it. So that's in case I have to come back in later and make some edits and stuff like that. So we're back to our originals, which have the eyeballs, have everything set up, because these are the ones we're going to use to actually make our models for the game. So with this one here, with these ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my vanilla files. All right. And I'm going to go into, I'll just use this one while I have this open. C, program files, Steam apps, and then go to common, and then gonna go into Neverwinter Nights 2 and data, and then you're gonna go into models, and I'm gonna pull out an orc. So I know Grey Orc is OGM. I think it's OGM. No. OOM? No.
For which one? I'm sorry.
Grey Orcs. I think they didn't introduce Grey Orcs to the first patch, right?
Correct. Grey Orcs is OG.
OG. Okay, so maybe they're in. So if you see these, you have different in your data. You will have different folders. So these are all patches. So you have your models. And then you have your first patch. When you hit the X1, that's an expansion. So that's just when you got the Storm Azir and all the other expansions. So this is when, and after this expansion pack, if you purchased it, which when it first came out, then you have access to the Grey Orcs and stuff like that. So if I go to OGM, which is still not in there. maybe I'm just not typing it right? I thought Grey Orcs are selectable from the beginning, aren't they?
Grey Orcs? No.
No? Let me double check.
They came
Maybe I could
later
type
because
in
I have them.
P
They're in my
OGM.
notebook in red ink, which means they're not original game.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right, so I'll do expansion pack 1. Maybe I have to type in P. That's why P OGM. No, maybe expansion pack 2. Okay, and in here, I'm gonna go ahead and go to P. Oh, OGM right here. So I just need the first Grey Orc head. So I'm gonna grab this one, and then I'm also gonna place it into my folder here, where I have a lot of other stuff. Let me exit that. I don't need that open no more. I'm just gonna open it up here. And if I go to documents, I have a folder called, where is it at? HHM somewhere here. Vanilla HHM. It's where I just throw all my vanilla stuff. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab it and drag it on over, drop it in here because I'm going to come in here, make a new collection. Okay, call this vanilla orc. All right. And then here, I'm going to go to File, Imports, and Neverwinter Nights 2, MDB. And I'm going to go to that area, Vanilla HHM, and go to OGM head, import it. All right. So that's the orc head. I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift, hold down Shift, and turn off all the calls. And FreshLook taught me that, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the skeleton. And then I'm going to start deleting everything, but even the eyes I don't need in here. So just a head. I'm going to go in here, hit Alt-J, turn it into quads, select all of these. And then what I'm going to do now is, while I have everything selected, just go to Mesh, Clean Up, Remove Doubles. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Mesh, Normals, Average Face Area. That fixes it a little bit. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to just Edge, Subdivide. No, not Subdivide. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control and 2, maybe Control and 1, smooth it out a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Apply. So now we have, a higher poly mesh that we're going to use as a reference template and a weight transfer device or thingy, or I don't know, fill in the blank. All right, so we have the head here. So what I want to do now is I'm going to get all 3 of these to match up to here. And if you see me do this before, you're going to see it again. All right, so hit R to rotate, hit Z, and then 180 to turn them all around. I'm going to go ahead and come in here. I'm going to hit Shift, right click, and drop the pin right there. That's going to let me know as my, where I want to line up eye to eye. So I'm going to just move all of them together just for the sake of it and kind of put them right there. But I know they need to be tweaked individually. So I'm going to go to the first one. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab on the Z, center that, press 3, hit G, grab on the Y, and center that right there. Now, chin doesn't have to matter, none of this, but we can always play with it and get some fun results towards the end. Oops, hit the wrong button. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the first one first, and then the second one, and all so forth. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up this window. I'm going to go to 3D viewport, press 3 on this, press N to hide that, press T to hide that, press C, oops, and go to wireframe. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go to this head. I'm going to go to sculpt mode. All right, hit N to open up this window, go to tool, symmetry, lock on the x-axis. And why did my thing disappear? Unhide. I hit X for some reason. And I'm going to go down to just elastic deform, F, turn up that brush size, and I can see here through wireframe, or I can do it through here. Come up here, turn this on to random. It gives you 2 different colors. I want to try to get these as mixed match as possible. That's how I know I got the right size, is if they start looking like you can't tell which one's which, and you'll see what I mean. All right, so first thing what I always do is I try to bring up the head a little bit. Now I'm going to use it over here, and I'm just going to preview what it looks like over here at a distance. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe make this brush bigger and start just bringing this in a little bit, and kind of Now, I don't imagine there's going to be a lot of helmets fitting for these heads because that's just how Grey Orcs have always been. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to get something if I can to work with that. But so if I can't get that in, what I do is I zoom in more to get a more precise lock in. Okay, I'm trying to make these as close as possible. Give these a little extra effort. And then one thing I want to do is see, I want to make sure that this lines up with this. Okay, so if I come in here, line it up there, I know that it's going to fit still. And then what I'm going to do now is I can go ahead and use both of these actually. I'm going to go ahead and pull this to about right there, and then pull this out and pull this back in, pull this back out, pull this back in, and it's going to kind of give us like that little what we need. And then what I want to do is out from the top view, I'm going to go ahead and pull this in a little bit, and see right here, it's going to clip through a lot of stuff. You want to get this in here. So it's a little tricky part. So there's a good way of doing this. Now, we don't need all of these extra ones, because if we look at our map, if I go to texture, see what's black there? If I turn off this one, this is actually not part of, this is stuff that didn't get rendered. So really, I should have done that first. If I go into edit mode, and then I come into select here, I select all of those. I'm just going to select all of the black, because our maps, the universal maps, don't work with that, those faces. So I'm just gonna delete that. Okay, and now that I turn this back on, I should have done that first, so now I got to adjust for that. So I'm gonna bring this back down here, and then bring this, maybe come in a little bit, and bring this back down. Okay, and then bring this in. You know, see how here, I don't mind bringing, when I'm messing with this, it's doing that because, like I said, these are meant to look deformed. So whatever mistakes I'm making are happily taken. That, and then we want to kind of like bring this in a little bit and bring this like this. So what you want to do is you want to get like a mesh of both. See, when it starts doing that, that's how you know like it's in between both of them. And then you kind of like, I just go here. And for stuff like these little areas at this angle, I can go ahead and pull that out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. The eyes are the only things, because some of these things have helmets, if they have a helmet or hoods, and you want the eyes to be kind of like in the same area. These won't have an animation effect, but still, and I don't think they do. So even the vanilla files didn't create them with an animation effect. And this is just, for right now, it's using a human map. Okay, so while I have this open now, what I want to do, because I want to kind of show some ferocity here, I'm going to go ahead and grab this tooth, and then this tooth. I'm going to go ahead and edit mode, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off this little bad boy and not connected. I'm going to do, yeah, maybe connected only, and see what happens here. And then I'm going to hit G and the Y axis. Turn down my brush some, and I'm going to see what happens here. Okay, it's only those two. So maybe I'm going to do, let's go ahead and do, see what happens here. G, Y, make it really small. No, so I have to bring the teeth out. So if I turn that back off, grab Y, I can pull those out just a little bit. You know, it's probably not the best thing to do, but let me see what I can do now. And this is just me adding some extra flavor. So this is the kind of, you know, respect you have to give these monsters for being the rare races, you know. Pull that in, and then it's okay if this is happening, by the way, because it's not gonna destroy the model. Now, remember how I told you earlier about modifying from the point? So if I grab these, and if I shift click here, all right, if I turn on this thing again right here, 3D cursor, that means I'm modifying from the 3D cursor's viewpoint. I hit rotate. I can pull this like this and just hit grab on the Z and pull it back in. Now, that's going to be a little tricky when it comes to the mouth altogether, but, you know, I think it should be fine. If I want to, I can just always press the lip back down. If I grab this, hit hide, and then I can pull this, hit the grab tool, pull the slip down, right? And then unhide. And then now it kind of looks like it has a dip for a reason there. Okay. And so, and this is where I can make any other edits I want. If I want to pull this in to make this like really, really deformed, but I'm going to save that for making extra models because that's how orcs can be really, really deformed. But for the most part, that's our first orc. Now, if I wanted to, I can come in here too and turn these ears down a little bit. I think that's actually a good idea because the orcs don't really have, well, I saw a picture that someone posted, and if I want to, I can give it that little marked, you know, that ear bite, but I don't think I'm going to do that until I do the high poly, like baked stuff. So that's the first head. And so now that that's done, I'm going to go into object mode, let it sit there, turn that off. I'm going to do the same thing for this one right here. So as I said before, I'll try to be quick. So if you will bear with me, I'm going to select everything here, hit X, faces, and then this is the second one, obviously. I'm going to get it lined up here. I'm going to hit G, Y, bring it in here, bring it to the eyes. Y, right there is fine. Okay, come in here. Same thing, go to sculpt and then lock the X axis. I'm going to come in here and just start sculpting. Oh, I'm in. No, that's right. Why am I not sculpted? I'm in the right mode, right? With the right model. Sculpt X. Oh, I'm in nudge. That's why. Okay, so bring that in here. I'm going to go ahead and bring that there. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull that out there. So same thing. What I want to do is I want to get the two to kind of like merge together. So if we saw the last one, this is exactly what I knew for this one. I know it's repetitive because you're like, you just did this, dude. Yeah. it kind of like, it's just practice makes perfect. I'm going to get this edge down here to this corner. And then I'm going to use this to kind of like look underneath and pull this out to the front here. And then pull these back in by zooming in a little more. Maybe pull, this can stay like that. It's not a big deal. What you want is these to kind of align. Oops. You want these to kind of like meet that point. So even here, bring it in, maybe like that, you know, ballpark's fine. Well, more like, you know, not ballpark, but maybe, you know, in the right field sort of. So bring that out there. And then I'm going to push that in a little bit because sometimes the hairs, well, I don't know if the Grey Orcs, do they have hairs? Right there is like that. Okay. And it's okay if it looks deformed. It's meant to be. Let's see. Let me go zoom in here and do this a little bit. If I turn this off, let's see what happens. Getting a little chaotic here, I think. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to turn that back on. There's no animations, no blinks and stuff like that, so we don't have to worry about that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of go and adhere to some of these outlines that it has. See how this really comes in there. So, and then let's pull this back out. Okay, come up here, turn this at like an angle, and just kind of get some of this stuff kind of lined up a little more. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's not meant to be. These are meant to be really, really spontaneous in the way how they look from each other. I'm gonna pull some of this out now because I want it to kind of meet a little bit. What has to match is this area right here. These two have to be close because this is where the bodies kind of meet the outfit, and so you want to kind of keep that kind of like together. So, and then I can kind of push in and out to kind of like get a little bit of both, and that's fine. I think right here maybe that has to come in a little bit, particularly this little area if I want to make sure that push this back out like that. See how it's a little bit of both? So that's how you know it's going to be a good fit. Some of these hairs, it matters. Also these ears, if you want, based off the helmets go, you're going to grab this here. And I want to use the grab tool instead of the grab tool allow me to grab less than pulling on everything else, and kind of bring it back in, and maybe use the nudge tool to nudge the little parts over. Okay. I didn't do that with the first one, I think. So if I click this, it turns off. Come in here, That's close enough. Okay, so, and of course our third one. Let's go ahead and leave it at that. We'll do the third one last. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this first one, and I'll do the third one later on, like I said. Oh, actually, for the second one, let's go and do something with his teeth. I think the teeth can. No, those teeth look fine. I think. You know. Oh, look at those eyes. No, so let's grab the eyes. Particularly that one. Just that one, because why not? Make it look, this orc look really silly. Let's go ahead and grab it on the Y. Maybe that's what needs to happen here. Grab Y. And let me turn this off to median point. So that way it's grabbing within the actual eye. No, let's go grab X. There, now he's going to look a little cross-eyed, but nothing wrong with that. Grab, because it's not lined up properly. All right, so that's what we want. This one right here is a little odd too. So let me grab this one. L, grab X. And then grab Y. There we go. All right. So I'm going to do just these two right now. And then we'll do the third one on my own time. That's this little piggy looking one. So first one right here. All right. So let's go ahead and make sure it's matched. So what I'm going to do now is turn that off. Turn this one back on. The vanilla head. Go into my weight paints, wireframe. Going to go ahead and do my weight cleanup. So to do that, what I'm going to do is delete all these F's, F, eyelids, and keep head, neck, and rib cage. And what I'm going to do now is go to head. I'm going to press 3 to turn it sideways and fill in the areas that need to be filled in, like this little area, the chin, because we deleted the chin bone. Okay, so something like that, it's fine. All right, so everything's covered. And then what I'm going to do now is, yeah, we're going to go ahead and hit this, and then I'm going to go back into object mode. All right, solid. Going to come in, turn on this one. I'm going to click this head. First, I'm going to come up here. Yeah, that's right. And I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to hit Control Tab, go into weight paint mode, hit Z, go into wireframe, go to weights, and go to transfer weights. I'm going to go to this option, nearest face interpolated, and go to by name. Now, when we look at our monster here, or our orc, we have 3 weights. Then these weights transferred over from this original head onto our new monster, orc, sorry. Okay, and then going to go ahead and do the same thing for the second one. So I'm going to select the old head, shift select the new one, go into weight paint mode, go to weights, transfer weights. This information saves if you used it earlier. And so that's saved. And so I'm going to click just off of it anywhere. I'm going to turn off the old head. No longer need it for this session. Now we have our heads ready to export. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that very thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another blend file separately. So that's open, and we're going to go to File, and I'm going to go to import the head by itself, because we're going to use that as our now we're going to use the head to transfer over its properties, not just weights, but its properties over to our new heads. But I'm going to do it the way that it works for my heads. So I'm going to add an extra step or two in there. So I'm going to go ahead and import that vanilla head again, OGM1. Hit Control 1 to turn it around. Come in here, do exactly as I did the first time. Turn those off. Come in here and clean up a little bit. And I'm going to keep the eye this time because I'm going to save it. I'm going to open up a new collection. This one right here in this collection, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Import. I'm going to import one of my regular heads. Another orc head. Maybe the half orc head. And there's a reason behind that method, so I'll tell you right now. So I'm going to go to File, Import, a Neverwinter Nights 2 file. Now, I recently made these orc heads, so I made an orc head here. I'm going to import just a random one. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Actually, I'm going to delete the calls because I don't really need them. And I'm going to delete the skeleton. And that's the original orc head. I'm going to turn off the original stuff. This is the one that I made for half orcs, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep those two on, all right, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is while I have collection 2 open, I'm going to append from this file the orc head. So this one's called go1.006. I got to save my file first and call this OGM blend, OGM. All right, save it. And then now that it's saved, if I come into here, I'm going to go to File, Append, which allows me to go into another blend file, the one I just saved, and pull out whatever I want into this blend file. So I'm going to go to that OGM, which I just saved, and I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to choose that object, which was, I believe, GO.006. I'm going to append it. And now I brought it over from that blend file to this blend file. And so with that being done, what I'm going to do now is turn off this, and I'm going to come in here, select everything. Well, not everything, just the eyes. I'm going to separate the eyes selection. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these two together. The reason why I want to is because this has properties already set on it that work for the game for me. If I go here, and I go to Neverwinter Nights 2, it's already got all of these properties set for it. It's got the right specular level for the skin that I want, and it has the tint map already applied to it, and so does the eye. So I want to go ahead and merge these two heads together to delete out the old head, but those properties stay onto this new face. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. If I turn on the head here, I'm going to select the Grey Orc head, and then select the one that I want to take the properties from, which is this orc right here. I'm going to hit Control J. Now they're joined together. Now they're all just one mixed mesh. You're like, what the hell? So there's two faces in one. We're going to separate them though by going to the Materials tab, and we're going to select the old head right here. And this is it right here, OOM. That's the orc, half orc head. I'm going to go into edit mode and select just the old head, hit X, and delete the vertices. Now we have our orc here, but now if we look and behold, it has all of those tint map and everything assigned to it. So it stole its properties. So we merged the two, so that way the new Grey Orc can inherit the properties, and then we selected the old head and threw it away. But the new Grey Orc head has the selected properties that it stole from the old head. It's what we do with the hairs too. So I'm going to do the same thing for the eyes. I'm going to grab this Grey Orc eyes, and then this is the half orc eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and merge the two together. All right. And then I'm going to deselect everything, come into my materials, and select the old Grey Orc eyes and delete them. Now that I've done that, this new eyes have retained the properties that it needs to, that way I don't have to reset these myself, because if you have to reset these, it gets very tedious and annoying and repetitive. So it's just a way to make things go faster. So now that I have that done, I'm ready to finally put this together and export it out. We're nearly done. All right, so I got the head here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and delete everything. So I'm going to go ahead and because I know this is using the same, I'm going to use the orc map for this one, by the way. So that's going to be a little interesting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and delete everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and select that Grey Orc map, the OOM head. It's called OOM head, right? And then, so if I want, it's purple because it's missing the connection to the file. So I'm going to reconnect it for the sake of showing you what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and go to UV. No, I'm going to go to shader editor. Don't worry if it's confusing. This is not meant to be. This is just extra stuff that I'm showing. You'll see the result at the end. And I'm going to link back to the head file. That way it can show here. So it's purple until I do this. And I go back into HHM textures. And I believe I have it here. It's called Orc Jude OOM head one. That's the one, open. And this is pretty much the orc head. And because like I said, all of these are sharing the same texture space or UV space as all the other heads. So I didn't have to do anything else. I can change out this map to another face, even a female face, because like I said at the very beginning, Genesis 9 models use both male and female textures or UV space. So with that being done, what I can do now is if I come in here and go into texture, it's right there as well. It gives me a better result without having to look at all that shininess. So, and I can do the same thing for the eyes. So if I come into the eyes and I select generic eye, which is, I believe, right here, Daz3D. No, it's under Daz Face Pack, generic eye. Okay. And then if I delete all of this, it leaves it with that. And this is going to be our weird looking Grey Orc. Now, I might change these eyes out to be like the tiefling ones where it's just like dark, but let's go ahead and mess with this for now like this. All right. Actually, I think I may. So this is obviously not using the baked map that we have because our baked map would have deeper shadows right here, but this is just a temporary thing until we make the map. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and make that map. So I'm going to come back here and go to HHM textures. You're going to find that orc map, which should be somewhere around here. It's Jude OOM. Let's see. Do I see it here? Jude. Here it is, right here. And I'm gonna hit C, Control C, Control V. I'm gonna hit Control V again. Just something 2 heads. So I'm gonna call this Jude. I know I throw my name and everything. OGM head 1, and then this one's gonna call head 2, but OGM. That's the only thing that's got to change. Okay, so I'm gonna open up this first one, and we're gonna see this change before we put it live. Okay, so I want to do this now. All right. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and grab that original head. Actually, I don't want the orc to have hair. I want it to be like really like maybe like this map. No. Is that a DDS? It has to be one of these ones. Maybe this one. Okay, let's drop it in there. Just like that. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, let's see. That already has a baked teeth, but that's fine. Teeth can be dirty. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab those AO maps. And I know this is OG1, so I'm going to go OG1, the ones I baked earlier. Remember those shadows we baked? That's what we're going for. So I'm going to go to GO1, Grey Orc. I'm going to drop it right on top. That's all the shadows that we baked earlier in Blender, not in Substance Painter. I'm going to come here. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation. Because shadows aren't generally black, they usually are the color of the skin. Most of the skin tone on this image is like peachy. So I'm going to go colorize, and the parameters you want to set are 30, 30, and 30. Okay, 20 if you need to go darker. So let's go 20. All right, now that it's set like that, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and draw a mask and press M and select this area right here. And what I'm going to actually, no, it's just this area up to about right there. I'm going to fill that mask in. That way it chops it out, so we keep this part separate from the mask. So it's like this is separate from this little area. What we're going to do here is come to multiply. And now we have those shadows baked into the head. So what that's going to do now, so I'm going to go ahead and save this out like this first. So I'm going to hit Control Shift S. I'm going to save this as a NVIDIA texture. I'm not going to name it copy. All right. So I'm going to click save. It's going to be BC3. Okay. It says you want to replace it. Yes. We're going to make it BC3. All right. I'm going to click apply. It's going to save. And then what I'm going to do in Blender is I'm going to go ahead and link it. So we're going to see what it looks like. So here it would be Jude OGM head 1. All right. Open. That's what it looks like right now based off that map. There's no shadows yet. See, the shadows that we're seeing right now are only shadows that are, well, not really because we have the shadows off, but that's just shadows coming from the actual 3D space in Blender. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and fix that issue. Even the teeth look dark. So what we're going to do for that one, for this one, is we're going to go ahead and go to turn this back on. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and hit save again. Take off copy. 1. Save. And overwrite. Save again. All we have to do is come in here and relink the file. With the now we put that baked shadow map over our diffuse map. And this is what we get now. So that's what it's going to bake like. Okay. Now, we can go ahead and add the stuff from earlier, but we'll do that in game live. All right. When I get into the game. So what I'm going to do now is now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and because these teeth shouldn't be black. They should be white. And the reason why it's doing that is because the original teeth that I brought in, or the map that I brought in, it already had a, let's see, maybe there's one without it. Let's find out. No, they're all pretty dark. Maybe this one's proper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring this one in, drop it in there. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down here like this. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this little part, the teeth. It's about right there. All right. I'm going to just copy that out, turn that off. And so now the teeth have the proper shadows applied. So now when I click E and save, was changed since I saved it. Yeah. Okay. BC3 and click save. All right. Now that it's saved, did I just close it? Okay, I thought it closed on its own. And now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to relink it one more time, and it should fix those teeth. There we go. The reason why it baked like that is because if you remember correctly, the teeth were already inside, and I pulled them out after, so that was my fault. But that's cool. It looks like little candy corn. Maybe he has candy corn stuck in his mouth. Maybe it's not really teeth. All right, so let's go ahead and get this ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take these two and put it into this structure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete. I'm going to copy this name first, because why not? Then delete it, and then give it that name. And then I'm going to give the material that name. Then I'm going to give this that name. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the eye. Control C, and then delete it. I'm going to give this that name. And then this that name. And then the material that name. Then I'm going to select them both, and then go ahead and turn on the skeleton. Shift select the skeleton, hit Control P to parent it to the object. And I'm going to drag it on over to the collection and delete this collection. Okay. And now we have all of our stuff together. Lastly, I got to go through and tie it manually. So I'm going to select this one, make it sure it's tied to its rig. All right. So now they're both tied to the rig. And at this point, we're ready to export. So I'm going to go ahead and go to click this, highlight the name, the head, file, export, Neverwinter Nights 2, MDB. I'm going to go to my emergency elves. Oops. Control V. And I'm going to go to export. Now I'm going to zoom in and out a little bit. And as soon as it zooms in and out, that's how I know it's saved. Oops. Hitting my microphone. All right. It's saving it. Now, on the bottom, if you don't see a red thing that says error, then export it correctly. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into the game and we're going to take a look at this. All right. So let's go ahead and go into the game. Yes. And then okay. Here we go. I'm going to go to new game, new module, and just work from here. So, all right. And it's going to go to create a character and Grey Orc. And they always look funky at first because the skin tone is off and this stupid outfit does not do it any justice. Let's go ahead and do the bald head.
Grey Orc.
And let's go ahead. Yeah, it's a very... This outfit, I gotta delete this outfit. It was more of a joke. So Grey Orcs have like a really like dark color, right? Like
Typically.
I need to add more gruesome. So like right now, this is what it is because it's using a human face, but this is not what we're going to use. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through here, and I think it's called if I remember correctly, it's called. Let me go to the Daz3D and update this right now. Actually, so we're going to do some handiwork. So we're going to go into our Daz files, Daz3D Studio. All right, going to go to library. Runtime textures, and I just gotta find orc. It's gotta be here somewhere. Come on, give me something. Easy green orc. No, I don't want the easy green orc. Give me something else. Yeah, those textures aren't really what I want. I think it's called imp. That's the one. I think it's raw imp. No, that's textures. No. Here's how I do it. So I'm going to open up Daz3D right quick, and we're going to pull out these orc textures. Bear with me, folks. We're almost done. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go to where the orc is at. And I believe the textures I want to steal are this one right here called Raw Imsimian. So let's go ahead and go to here and go to browse to file collection, it would be, oh, that's not the right one. Studio people. Let's go to runtime, textures, raw, Simian. So it's one of these. One of these actually. So I think it's this one, or maybe this one right here, T3. If I double click to open it right quick. Yeah, so this is the head we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to put the head right on top of everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this right here. And this is what makes it tricky, because I actually have to make this map into, oops, wrong folder. I have to make this map work. Okay, I'm going to hit X, enter. I'm going to hit Control T. And then what I want to do is actually bring this down a ruler to 1536. I know this number already. So 1530, hold down shift, 1536. That's going to be where the head meets. So I'm going to grab this, hold down shift, and then snap it right there. Press enter. I can turn back on this. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go with this image adjustments. This might do something tricky. We'll see what it does. And go to image adjustments. Levels. This is a little tricky what I'm doing here. I'm trying to keep the information. Okay, so this might not be perfect yet, but I will make it perfect. Let's see. Let's go to hue saturation and let's give it like a fleshy tone. The reason I'm doing this like this is because I want to give it like enough a fleshy tone, because I'm turning this one back on. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and give it like a soft, hard light. Maybe, yeah, maybe this. I want to kind of retain the let me see, turn some of this off. No. Okay, we'll work with that right now. But really, ultimately, it's supposed to be like that peachy tone. So I think if I just add a, and I keep this file because I do this to all of them. So if I add like a, maybe a brightness contrast, maybe turn that up. I get sort of that peachiness, and then maybe turn down the contrast so I don't get so much brightness. Like maybe turn like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit M and draw it like there. That way it doesn't affect so much that area. Okay, we're just going to mess with this right now, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save that out. And hit save. Now that I've done that, this should automatically update in the game if I go to the next head and back on this one. And now we got that sort of gray orc feeling. But of course, I don't know. What do you think?
The coloring or the face? I like the face.
I might add some dirt on the texture, like some
yeah, like, some grit.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna change up the map too. I'm gonna add a map for them that's gonna give them scarring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And maybe I can turn up this ruggedness. So if I were to, I would have to make a new map for the Grey Orcs too, which I don't mind doing because it's using a map right now from the half orc. But if I make a Grey Orc map, I can give it more rugged texture and maybe some rips and scars and scratches and stuff like that. You know, the eyes. Let me see. If I make the eyes like the eyes for the the tiefling, that might help too. So if I were to, because the Grey Orcs, how do the eyes? Do they have regular eyes? What kind of eyes do Grey Orcs have?
Good question.
Let me do this because they're nocturnal, right?
Yeah, I would
So
imagine dark and kind of beady, but that
yeah,
may be
let me
completely
first
wrong.
do. Yeah, hold on. I think I
My
have
source
an eye
books are on
set.
the other side of the room.
Let me go and do an MDB. MDB cloner. Go to file, load, and let me load a tiefling head. Override. Because the tieflings have the alternate eyes. And then it's under final output, I think. No. No. Under one of these final exports. HTF. Here we go. Let me look at the alternative. Demon eyes. DTGN. Okay. Control C. What I'm going to do is go to here, file, load. And I'm going to load in this one, which is HHM textures. Oops. Wrong one. Is it here? No. I thought it was in the oh no, it's under here. Emergency. Oh, I'm confusing the hell out of myself. Here we go. OGM head 1. That's OOM. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this as the work. That's right. Oh, God. The wrong button. Or tint. I'm going to say save and see what happens here. Ooh, no. I did that so wrong. Oops, that's not right. This should have been, I put it in the wrong spot. Should have been here. But at the same time, let me go ahead and fix that other issue by going to reset all. No. All right, so let me go ahead and pull that file back up. Control C. And Control V, save, yes, and see what happens now. Okay, so what do you think of that?
He's a creepy orc, and I like it.
Okay, yeah, that works. I think I maybe add some scarring. I think
The
I have some
eyes,
stuff with scars and
yeah,
stuff like that.
scarring and the grit, but the eyes are great.
They're just the tiefling eyes. I just took them off, I think. So if I want to make them all the same, so if I take all of this, they have no glow. They have a normal map. So if I Control C and change that to that, sure, save. Well, the T. Is there a tint? Let me see. Save clone. Let me see if this does some interesting results. What happens if they change the eye color? There we go. I think that works. All right. And then of course I'll have to go get the maps. I know I have some other maps I can probably throw in here. If I wanted to, like I think this would be a good map to throw in there. I think the same one, the Impsian map. Let me see what happens if I do that. That actually might be a good idea, but I probably have to restart. Or actually what I'll do is I'll save myself from having to restart by going to the orc map itself. Where is that at? It would be under what would that be under what? I get so lost in my files. Okay, so I'm looking for this map. Let's see. Open file location. CV. And then what I'm going to do is I'll swap them out after. So I'll just edit this one. So this is the orc head in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the simp head in, whatever it's called. This one has a cool little texture, so enters. I'm going to use this as my measurement tool for now, just because. Grab it, Control A, Control C, and then delete. Control D, delete, Control V. And I think this is inverted because it's a DirectX map. So what I gotta do is make this completely white and then invert to green. And then come over here, turn this back on, put this on overlay. And now we got more texture there. But at the same time, I'm going to look for something with a scar. Maybe Amon Ghoul has something cool. So let me try Amon. Amon's face. Come on, Amon, have a cool face. Amon has a cool map. Look at that. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to use that for something else. I think I'm going to use that for Tiefling or for Fire Genasi. So Amon's, what is this? G9 default material normal. Is that the head? Yeah, so Amon has this going on. Ooh. It's a body. I'm going to see what that looks like. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to drop it in here. Hit enter. Control Alt, Control C. Paste it here just to use it as a safe space to do that. Control Alt, Control C. Come back over here. Delete it. Oop, press OK. And then Control V. Oops. Control Shift V. Turn these two off. Come in here. Make that pure white. Invert the green. Come in here. Turn it back on. Maybe make that soft light. And let's see what this looks like. E. Save. BC3. Save. And then come in here. And let's see what happens. There we go. How's that?
That's good.
Almost makes me want to make Grey Orc outfits. Because the Grey Orc has a better skeleton. They're not the same skeleton as the half orcs, you know? I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, so effect is essentially what we have here is, I mean, that's good. I think that's stellar right there. That's what we're aiming for. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call this session. I'll post previews in the Discord for what we made. We made 3 Grey Orcs and that's it. So we did two, and then this is the first one. I'll showcase this one, but I'm also going to finish the next ones. I don't know how many people play Grey Orcs, but hopefully this will entice people to want to play them more. They will have the beards too and all that stuff like that, because the beards are separate from. So the females, like I said, get the hairs. The men get the beards. But I am gonna do male hairs too. It's on my list. But yeah, so that's pretty much the stream. Thanks for watching. I'll go ahead and finish these out and add these to the list. we're almost done with male stuff. So we got gnomes coming up, and I gotta talk to you about gnomes because I think it was halflings, the ones that we don't want to budge on, right?
Correct. Yeah, halflings because we've got them tied to the human.
So
skeleton
how I want to do gnomes
stuff.
is a way I'll explain when I do that stream. I think you like the female gnomes that I created, right? How I used the head. I made the head a little bigger, so it's
Gnomes are
not controversial.
disproportionate, anyways.
Yeah.
And
I hope like
what I don't
originalists
understand
or
for BG the way we did the gnomes, that the Chamberdini, because some gnomes are sized larger and smaller. I don't know. When you flick through them in the character creation, it's
So he created
some weird stuff going on.
a new GZM and GZF, I think, and
yeah,
I won't fault him for that because I know a lot of people give him shit for it, but nobody knows how much trouble he went through. I do because I was.
Oh, I'm not giving shit. I just don't understand.
I'm not saying you are,
to
but
organize the content. Yeah.
So I'm like to everybody because some people did, and it's like it's so disheartening as a developer to know he thought he was doing something. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't, but in his mind, he was trying to create something new that would allow gnomes to have more functionality with the human stuff and stuff. That's what he wanted. That was his goal. And it wasn't to like make things how he saw fit. It was like trying to use the 2D appearance editor to make a new style of gnome, which also allowed them to, at the same time, that code he made that allowed them to reverse, to go back if you didn't want to. So, it didn't have the outcome that he expected or was expected, but I have to give him props for trying because I know what he did. Now, it was a little confused for other devs too, trying to figure out what it was, but at the same time, at that time, nobody was really making things. I think I was barely still learning the Blender stuff, but how I want to do gnomes, hopefully it won't get that same sort of backlash. I want to, and I'll explain it more when I do the gnome heads and I preview that Twitch, because I've gotten good feedback for the females and how the females look. I'm essentially grabbing these heads and I'm making these heads big, and they're not going to fit the regular gnome helmets and the gnome hairs, because we're going to port all of our hairs, and it's mainly big for the females, all the hairs to this new head model. So it's going to, and that's going to be within a click thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a null object that will essentially grab all the hairs and within a click pop them onto the gnome, because the female heads are going to fit to the gnome. I'm going cross-eyed, aren't I? When we get to that bridge, I'll show you exactly what I mean. But I think the gnomes will be something new, and I think they'll have a positive look. I mean, I hope they do. Halflings will leave as you said, because halflings are kind of weird in their own way too, with that weird head shape they got. And then we're gonna do dwarves, and I might just do female and males together because they all look the same to me. So
well, the girls are supposed to have the beards anyways, and anybody says differently.
Yeah, all I gotta do is use the male faces and apply the female textures. They're like the reverse elves. When I make male elves, it's the same thing. Yeah, so yeah. So all right, so I'm gonna post this. I really like this. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is if someone looks through and zooms in and sees like the back faces and stuff like that. But if you do that, then you need to zoom out, because I don't know what I can do for you. I can turn those back faces.
If you look for something wrong, you deserve to find something wrong. It's like the dust bunnies under my bed. You look under there, you deserve to find it.
Okay, so I think this is cool. I like the way this looks. I think I can add different effects. I'll go through, because I was just using Amon, but there's different monsters up here that I could use, for pulling out some different shapes and stuff like that, but or different normal maps. But that's the beauty of how we created these textures, that they're so like you can use anyone. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. And thanks everybody. If you watch this later, I know we only had like 1 or 2 viewers, which is fine by me. Because this is gonna be up for a few days. Hopefully it's grasped some sort of like, it's like something that someone's like, oh, this is cool. Anyways, coming up, gnomes, dwarves. All right. So thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I will see you on the next Streamazoid.
Bye-bye.